Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. I really do appreciate it. You are watching From Soul to Crown, and on this channel I am so excited to talk about vegan living, spirituality, the law of attraction, healing crystals, so on and so forth. And I want to thank you so much for your time, and I want to thank you for your viewership. Thank you for clicking on this video, and I'm hoping that you have the opportunity to watch it all the way through. Also, if you are new to this channel, please do consider subscribing to this channel so that when I do put out future content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. So what I want to talk about today are the 5 major things that I experienced when wearing Moldavite, when holding it onto my person. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really wear my Moldavite in the sense that I have it in the form of a necklace or a bracelet or anything like that. I actually just have a few pieces here in front of me that I will either hold in my hand or I will put it in my pocket. And oftentimes I do bring it up to different parts of my body. So if I'm holding it in my hand, I'll bring it up to my heart just to see if I could notice any effects there. And actually I have been noticing some differences. And so that's one of the things that I want to discuss today. But as you can tell here in front of me, I have a few pieces of Moldavite. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of Moldavite. I think 3 of them are between 10 and 15 carats. This one here is between 15 and 20 carats. And here I have Libyan desert glass, which is also another type of tektite stone. And so I've been carrying this with me as well. And I also have a teeny tiny Herkimer diamond, which I paid about 13 bucks for at a bookshop in New York called Namaste Bookshop, which is where I also purchased these books just to try to learn a little bit more about stones, crystals, and tektites, and more specifically Moldavite, because it's been the stone that has, I guess for lack of a better phrase, has called out to me recently. And it all started when I was looking up synchronicities, why they happen, and whether it was a direct correlation with me trying to decalcify my pineal gland, because that's right around the time when it started happening. But I was also like sleeping with amethyst crystals underneath my pillow, labradorite underneath my pillow. So I know that correlation doesn't always equal causation, but here I am on my journey to try to find out like what is the result of this, what is the cause of this. And that has prompted me to acquire a few pieces of Moldavite in this journey, and I'm so happy to have them. Honestly, I've been wearing them and some pretty interesting things have been happening to me, so I have to be totally honest with you, one of which being the creation of this channel. And so I was just going out for a walk one day and I said, you know what, I feel like I want to talk about this and I want to have a platform where I can discuss this passion with people. And I said, well, why don't I just create a YouTube channel? And I did it, and I have like 8 subscribers, so thank you all so much for being subscribed to this channel. I really do appreciate it. And I feel like I'm really happy to be a part of this community, as well as a community on Facebook where I just see many people's experiences with Moldavite, and they've been sharing some really unique and incredible stories there as well. So let me just go ahead and get started. These are and I have them all written down in my notebook here so I don't forget, but these are the 5 major differences or things that I have experienced in my life since I came in contact with Moldavite. And I would say that they're pretty significant in the sense that a lot of these things either weren't happening to me prior to my acquisition of Moldavite, or they weren't happening with such frequency or in such severity until I acquired my Moldavite. And the first one is increased synchronicities. So a synchronicity, or a coincidence for people who want to downplay it, is almost like this divine communication that you have from the universe. Some people call it higher consciousness, some people call it Shiva, some people call it God. People have different attributions in different ways to speak about it, but it's almost like there's this greater knowledge out there and that the universe is paying attention. And I truly believe that, and I feel like you're always being watched, but not in a bad way necessarily. It's just like there's this cosmic knowledge and this cosmic intelligence out there that I really appreciate, and I have a high reverence and a deeply profound respect for. But what do I mean by that? So a couple of things happen where maybe back in February, I was getting these crazy synchronicities happening to me every single day. And then it almost like slowed down to like 2 to 3 times a week. So there was a bit of a lull where they weren't happening to me every single day, or if they were, they weren't as strong, and I tend to remember the ones that are quite memorable, the ones that happen to me the strongest. And I feel like since I acquired Moldavite, these synchronicities have been happening to me every single day again. And I've actually shared a few synchronicity stories on my channel, so I don't want to get in too much detail regarding the particular and specific synchronicities, but I'll leave a card somewhere up here if you're interested in checking out one of them. And I'm going to make sure to leave one that happened to me within the past week or two since I acquired Moldavite. And for those of you who are questioning, I have held on to these pieces for the past month or so. So I haven't really had them in my possession for longer than a month, but for the past month, these are the 5 differences that I've been able to notice. So the first one is increased synchronicities. The second one is vivid dreams. Now, I started having vivid dreams back in February, but something different that happened in the past month since acquiring the Moldavite and actually sleeping with it under my pillow, actually all of these pieces, sleeping with all of these pieces underneath my pillow, is not only do I have vivid dreams, I wake up being able to recall what those dreams are, and sometimes they align with my reality. And so one of my dreams, just to give you an example, was I had a dream where a friend of mine borrowed something from me. And in my dream, I was like, man, I really didn't want to lend that item to this friend because I feel like he's going to take a long time to return it, or he won't take good care of it, or whatever. And I had like this haunting, brooding feeling like, yeah, you shouldn't lend this person something. And like 2 or 3 days later, that friend speaks. It was actually last Sunday. He and I spoke on the phone, and he asked me to borrow something very similar to what I dreamt about. And I was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I plan on using this item. I had to like fabricate a bit of like a white lie, but it was me more so following my instinct and my intuition and my gut, right? This sort of divine message, if you will, that came from my dream, like this person is going to ask you to borrow something. So not only am I having these really vivid dreams, it seems like they synchronize with my reality, but when I wake up in the morning, I feel compelled to research them. And it's just a really fascinating feeling. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't experience a lot of these other things that people say you experience when it comes to Moldavite. Like I know there is the Moldavite flush, and Moldavite has this trickster quality about it where it sort of disappears on you and it reappears into your life. That hasn't happened to me yet. I know I've only been in possession of Moldavite for about a month now. I don't know if it's something that will happen in the future, but all these things that people talk about, the Moldavite sting, these things haven't happened to me yet, but I have been able to experience increased synchronicities and also these super vivid dreams that connect to my reality. And for some reason, I am able to remember them very clearly and in much detail that morning when I wake up. And it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling. That's the best way that I can describe it. If you can acquire a piece of Moldavite, and hopefully you do feel it a little bit stronger than I do, because I'll take a piece and I'll put it in my hand. I don't really feel anything. I'll hold it up against my person. I know a lot of people say, well, if you're wearing it as jewelry, sometimes, the setting might get in the way, or it might create a little bit of a separation, a spatial separation between the Moldavite and your skin. That's never been the case here. I'm always holding it. I'm always putting it up next to my person. I don't really have a physical effect from it, but I do have these other things happening in my life which are pretty cool. So an increased responsiveness from the universe. That's the third major thing that I've experienced in my experience and my history with Moldavite. This increased responsiveness from the universe, where if I put a thought out to the universe, or I challenge the universe in some way, the universe responds in anywhere between 2 seconds and 5 seconds, which I think is really, really cool. It's only happened to me about 3 times because I'm kind of afraid to challenge the universe, because I'm afraid to see how it's going to respond. But if it's going to give me more content for the YouTube channel, maybe I'll do it more often, right? But so the first thing that happened to me, and I'll be really, really quick with it, is I was watching Toy Story with my wife and my daughter. I actually did a video on this if you haven't seen that video. I was watching Toy Story with my wife and my daughter, and about an hour into the movie, I got bored. I pull out my phone and I decide to watch a video on Moldavite, actually a Moldavite Libyan desert glass combination video. And all of a sudden I get an ad for Disney Plus. That was my first time ever getting an ad for Disney Plus on YouTube, and it was my first time ever using Disney Plus on my PlayStation 4, which is where I was streaming Toy Story. The ad also happened to be an ad for The Lion King, and this happened 2 seconds after my wife made a very vague reference to Africa. And The Lion King takes place in Africa. So I thought that that was a pretty cool synchronicity. And then as soon as I put that thought out into the universe and I challenged the universe, and I said, you know what? That's not a strong enough synchronicity for me, and this is all just something I said in my head. All of a sudden, the song Hakuna Matata starts playing in Toy Story. And this was like 2 to 3 seconds after I put that thought out into the universe. And I was like, okay, the universe is listening to me. It's clearly it either doesn't want to be challenged, or it wants to give me reassurance, like, no, I'm here, I am listening. It actually happened to me this morning, which was the reason why I decided to make this video. So if it weren't for me challenging the universe again this morning when I was making this cup of coffee, I wouldn't have felt compelled or prompted to make this video. So what happened is I was texting with my friend Luke, who said, you know what, Steve, I can make you a pretty cool intro for your YouTube channel. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. Yeah, like I'll send you a logo. He wanted it in PNG format with a transparent background, whatever. And when I was checking the text message on my phone, I look in the top right corner of my phone, which is where the time is, and I saw that it was 11:13 a.m. So I'm like, oh, okay, I just missed 11:11 by 2 minutes. And then I put that thought out into the universe, and I was like, where were you there, Moldavite? Like 11:11 is supposed to be like the sign of synchronicity and alignment. And I was like, where were you, Moldavite? And so I was almost like teasing my Moldavite, right? Like, oh, I thought you were supposed to create synchronicities, right? I go in the kitchen to make myself this very cup of coffee that I'm drinking right now, and my Keurig says 11:11 on it, because my Keurig was actually behind by 2 minutes. And this happened, I kid you not, 2 to 3 seconds later. So once I challenged the universe and I said, where were you? Something happened almost immediately. And this is like the third time that this has happened to me. So yeah, I do think the universe is listening. I think it's paying attention, and I do think that everything happens for a reason. The next thing that has happened to me as a result of me acquiring and holding so many Moldavite pieces on me, which a dear friend of mine, Joseph, he has said to me, Steve, you probably don't want to get into it so heavy since you just started. Maybe start off with one piece, and you probably don't even need the Herkimer diamond to start with. But I'm kind of just like jumping into it quite crazily. Okay, so another thing that happened to me is I have this courage to challenge people. Usually I'm very detached from most conversations. I'm quite aloof. I tend to have this stoic attitude about a lot of things. And I think a lot of it also has to do with my personality. I'm very introverted. But I have these friends who like always play jokes, and like they'll crack on me, or they'll make fun of me, or they'll make a comment where it does hurt me, but I don't say anything to them. It's just like, that's just sort of how I let people treat me, like they walk all over me. And I know it's a friend, he means well, but I think a lot of people have almost built up the courage to say crazier and crazier things to me, knowing that I'm not going to respond. And this has happened with 2 people in the past 2 days. And even though I show love to these people, I show care and compassion and understanding and empathy to these people, and I lend them a lot of money, these people continue to treat me in this way. And I have actually challenged both of these people, where I don't know what came over me, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let you talk to me like this today. And then some of them will be like, oh, no, but that's not how I meant it. And it's like, no, that is how you meant it, because this is how you've been speaking to me for many years now. And so it's interesting how, like, and I've heard about this too, that Moldavite is supposed to almost take away the bad from your life. It almost, if I were to use the analogy of like a tree with these decaying leaves on it, like the decayed leaves will fall off so that new, bright, fresh, vibrant green leaves will grow in its place. And I feel like that's kind of happening. Like the people in my life that aren't really a beacon of hope and positivity, and that almost drain my energy. And another thing that I have to be honest with you, a lot of the people that I have found myself speaking to or speaking with on a regular basis over the past month or two have been people that just come to me with their problems and worries. And I feel like this is my role in their life, that I have to be this friend that they can, shoulder to lean on, and a listening ear and a helping hand. And I've been trying to be that really, really good friend. But what I've noticed is that they just leech my energy, and they just take my energy, and it feels like I'm giving and giving and giving and giving and helping and giving, but I feel like I'm defeated. I feel like I'm drained. I feel like my energy has been mitigated. And so I feel like one of these things is like, you know what? You can't just call me with your problems every day for the past month and expect to, have this sympathetic version of me that is giving you the same advice, but you're not taking it. So I'm trying to find more and more ways to try to rephrase it so that you can understand it better, because it's clearly not being transmitted to you the first time around. And so I found myself just saying, you know what? This is a battle that I'm not going to fight, and I am going to stand up for myself. And that has been one of the big things, me having the courage to challenge people who have been pretty much walking all over me for the past however many years. And the last thing, sorry about that, I know that felt like a bit of a rant, but I apologize for getting a little emotional, but I want to thank you for also allowing me to vent this one time. So the last thing that I've experienced as a result of me having so many Moldavite pieces is this bright feeling. And I was racking my brains prior to me shooting this video because I was trying to come up with ways to describe it so that it doesn't get lost in translation. And I think the best way that I can describe it is, have you ever had these moments in your life where you're sitting down on the floor, cross-legged or whatever, and you stand up really, really quickly, and it's almost like you get a little lightheaded and dizzy, and like everything starts to turn white and you have like these white sparkles? It's almost like that has been happening to me, but I don't feel lightheaded, I don't feel dizzy, and I'm just sitting. I'll be sitting on the couch and I'll take the Moldavite and I'll hold it up against my chest, or my heart chakra, if you will, and I feel like things just start to get brighter around me. And it's really hard to so I guess I am a hypocrite in that sense. I do experience some physical effects as a result of having Moldavite, but it's almost like that effect, and it feels like I'm having this increased clarity where I can speak about things in a way that's uninterrupted, and I can interpret reality in a way that is not foggy or in a way that is not distorted, where it's almost like I am having this mental acuity and this increased clarity. And I'm happy to be on this journey. I have to be honest with you. I'm actually waiting for another package of Moldavite and Herkimer diamond today. I actually placed an order from Inner Vision Crystals. This video is not sponsored by them in any way, nor would they sponsor such a tiny channel like mine. But I am actually waiting for a package, so I'm excited to hold that piece of Moldavite in my hand to see if I experience something different. And yes, I am diving deeper and deeper into this journey, and I want to thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. Again, I sincerely hope you took something of value from this video. If you did, please do consider subscribing to this channel by leaving a comment down below and also clicking that red button. This way, whenever I do upload future, crystal or law of attraction related videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. And also, if you have any experiences with Moldavite, I would be more than happy, I would be ecstatic if you would consider sharing it with me and whoever else might be watching this video. Please go ahead and leave a comment down below. I always love the interaction. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.